Friends and neighbors, bringing you an unhealthy dose of sarcasm and irreverent wit, here's Andy Eppler with Boulder County Tonight's Special Edition.
Thank you very much. My God, it's an honor to be back. Thank you for joining us on a snowy evening. What a visceral delight to have you here. It's also helpful because it lets the people on the internet know like when the jokes happened in the room. You know what I mean? Sometimes you can tell over the internet my shit don't necessarily work. Does it? Does it, Jack? No, it doesn't. Tonight, of course, we're on public television right now, so by the rules, I think you get a monkey puppet, at least one. Mine is my childhood friend, Jack. Say hi, Jack. Put your hands together for my old friend. What's that, Jack? Thank you, buddy. Thank you. You'll notice to my other side here, there's a drummer. My God. Who let him in here? Me. He's my friend. He's with us. This is Pierre. Put your hands together for him. Let me show you what Pierre does. He's a magic man. Ready for this? I make a joke. Let's pretend like I just made a joke. I'll say, "Oh, I told him Thursday." That's a helpful little punctuation style note for me to tell everybody when to laugh. They're running this sort of in daytime hours, and that's new for my show. So there will probably be some kind of a disclaimer soon on your screen that says like, "Sorry," or whatever, on behalf of the station, I guess. Sorry, whatever. Grandma, I know usually you are asleep before now. I'm like usually doing a show at night and you usually watch then. I usually have to tell you, "Ooh, you're up too late, better go to bed." But now I can't tell you that, you know? So there's no like upper age limit on this particular show. You can be just so old and tired and still watch us this time. Good for you. Welcome. Also, whatever, kids, if you're kids, you're going to hate this. You're going to hate this. This is a comedy show about a thing that is inherently barely interesting. So this really isn't for you, and you're not a voter anyway, so fuck off. You know what I mean? We don't need you. We don't need you. Really super don't need you on this one. Good luck, though, in the future. We are kind of, voting about your future. That's the nature of politics. So there's the disclaimer. That was helpful, wasn't it, Jack? Yeah. Great. We let everybody know where things lie. Other notes include I've not lived in town for a few months now. So, I kind of don't want to think I've lost track of how things are going in town, but let me just, if I can, just take a quick poll of the people in the room. I'm going to, have Jack count to 3, and then you can all yell a score between 1 and 10 at the same time of how good things are in town. 10 is public orgies in the street. 1 is that town from Footloose, you know? And it's don't you dance, don't you have fun, Kevin Bacon, or whatever. Pro Kevin Bacon or anti Kevin Bacon, somewhere on the spectrum there. So when Jack counts to 3, everybody in the audience, if you don't mind, yell out a number that you think you would rate how Longmont is doing. 5 is whatever. 5 is better than Greeley, not as great as whatever. You know, I think we're doing very well. I really like Longmont. So, on the count of 3, my monkey puppet's going to count to 3. You have to be an intuitive audience, but this is going to cost you this anyway in this show. Jack, give us the count and let's hear the vote.
7.
A lot of 6s and 7s. That's really strong with orgies on the table. You know what I'm saying? Because I really put it into a weird place at 10. So you couldn't possibly get into 8 territory without at least public nudity in the streets. So I get it. 7's really goddamn good, I gotta say. And it's rare that you, I think, run into a community that really does feel that way. And I really do love Longmont, and I indeed feel that way as well. The public orgy in the streets, whatever, it's not even a goal of ours, so it was tough to put it on the spectrum like that, I guess. Thanks anyway for... 7's really good. 7, I mean, if you take orgy stuff off the table at 10, then I think that rounds everybody up to at least an 8.5. You know what I mean, don't you think? Does everybody agree to that? So the problem was, Jack, when I set the stakes for the conversation, I was a pervert. Yeah, well, thank you. Yes. Finally, he says I'm in the 1%. Great. Great. We got a whole working system here, folks. Can you tell we're ready for the show? It's working right now. This is how it feels. This is how it feels when you have a working show. I want to say a big thank you to Longmont Public Media for letting us do this show. Yes. It's actually a really important note. I think public television and public media specifically is essential in the modern era. I think if a city is going to provide things like a fucking ice rink, they could provide something that other, I don't know, communities that can't necessarily buy podcasting equipment to be able to run a podcast and express themselves in a way that is appropriate in the modern age. So big thanks to Longmont Public Media for existing. What else do we need? Is that kind of all the announcement level shit, Jack? We don't have to tell them about the exits. We're not announcing private life stuff. Cool. God damn, are we hot tonight? We're hot tonight! And I really do appreciate you coming out to this show. I know people are sort of sick of politics, especially in America. Things have gotten so contentious and shitty. But if you think to yourself, you may find that you're actually frustrated with national level politics and not necessarily local politics. The city is fucking different. Local politics, we don't have, shitty, greedy people running for office. That's really not how it works. There's no money in it, and the job sucks. We did lots of interviews with these people last year. Everybody seemed to agree. Pays shitty, job sucks. It is not like, I don't know. We don't have greedy people running for this. That's really not how it works. So that's one of the really good news about differentiating there. But I know that everybody is sick of national level politics. Me too, of course. I feel really like we're in the Twilight Zone, whatever. We got rid of like a psychopath that was in the White House. And we replaced him with like Uncle Joe. It was like better. But like, a quick note. My God, derailing, a quick note. Can I get your permission, Jack? It feels like when Joe Biden got, we decided we're going to run for president, right? There must have been some group of people in some room somewhere being like, oh my God, we have to run somebody for president who has like a real chance of losing to a psychopath. If we don't have that, we can't pretend it's an emergency and maybe lose. We need a lot more funding. That's the game for us, right? So we're looking through our stack of people and we're like, God damn it, we're fresh out of Clinton's. You know what I mean? Cut it a little too close last time. Ran the shittiest person we could think of. Almost had it, but well, we'll raise money off of that or whatever. So they're sitting there going like, oh my God, we don't have anybody that we want to deal with or whatever. And somebody in the back of the room goes like, what if we try like the Air Bud strategy? And the guy's like, the Air Bud strategy, what is that? What is that? And they're like, well, we got like this aging Labrador back here. Is there technically a rule that says we can't run him for president? And the guy's like, can the dog wear a suit? And they're like, he can wear a suit. Get him in here. He's a good boy. The dog's like, you know who Air Bud was? He was like this dog who You know, he could maybe like shoot a three-pointer in basketball. And when you look at the detailed rules of the sport, it doesn't specifically say you can't have a dog be on the Denver Mavericks or the Denver Nuggets and the Dallas Mavericks. Oh, God, thank you. I don't want to get fucking beat up when I go out of the building. So that's my thoughts, I guess, on the president. He does, I guess, have one more thing in common with Air Bud, is that they both seem to love to sniff children. Have you noticed that? I noticed that. Just noticing shit, that's all. So I got a lot of stuff I need to talk about with all this election stuff that's going on, and I really appreciate you being here for it. I'm going to try and knock through it really quickly. But first, before we get into anything remotely serious, although Joe Biden, that note about him sniffing the children was a little serious. It was presented in a silly context, but anyway. Killing it today. Wow, we should just do this every time. We're going to do this again next week, and imagine how hot we'll be next week. I just drank a fizzy water on camera. Fizzy water's not a sponsor of this show. We wouldn't take their money. We have a new segment in the show. How about a little new segment beat for a minute here? We got a new segment on the show that I want to describe to you now. This is a brand new idea that we just had. It's called Possibly a Letter from the Mayor. This is a segment where we... Thank you, Pierre. No, you're good, thank you. This is a segment where we read a letter that could possibly have been written to us by the mayor. Possibly not. Maybe not, but possibly. I think it's nice. Ever since we announced the show that we were coming back for the special, Jack, they've been inundated with like literal handwritten physical letters. You believe that? But believe it though, for me, for the show. Yeah, it's totally true. And this is one of the letters, possibly from the mayor. It goes like this. Dearest Andy. Isn't she sweet? I regret that I can't join you on Thursday for your triumphant return to the sacred American art form of public television. As we all know, Longmont Public Media is the most modern and inclusive tool we as a city provide for our citizens. In the modern age, our citizens deserve modern amenities and opportunities. Longmont Public Media is an essential resource and a celebration for the First Amendment. Isn't that right, Jack? She seems right when she says that. If she said it, possibly she said it. Continuing. They provide opportunities for people across all of our community, across all backgrounds, across all cultures, to have modern tools to freely express through. That is public service at its finest. Wow. That is why I, possibly Mayor Joan Peck, publicly pledge to protect the funding and future growth of Longmont Public Media now and forevermore. God. Yours possibly Mayor Joan Peck. Maybe so. Amazing note. Can you believe that shit? Possibly. We said that. Yep. What a fucking delightful lady. We love all our public servants. What else? Let's talk amendment things and propositions, whatever. Let me, if I may, for a moment, let me proposition you. Proposition FF is on your ballot this year. And if you read in this thrilling tome, fucking breathtakingly amazing book, very easy to follow. This shit's like, it's like reading the Silmarillion. Fucking barely understand any of it. written in some language somebody seems to just have completely made up. Nobody talks like this at all. It reads like a goddamn King James Bible on crack. Not to digress. I think we're still okay on time here. Proposition FF. Now, this is a little tax increase. Oh my God. Terrifying idea. A tax increase. What will it possibly do? What is the best thing it could ever do? Jesus Christ. Provide hoverboards to all the fucking homeless cats in the world. Not that. Feed all of the children in all of the public schools in Colorado. Oh, it was that. That one. It was that. Amazing. An interesting thing. It says to purchase products grown, raised, and produced in Colorado to include in school meals. So that means like every kid in Colorado schools, public schools, I think, would get a free healthy lunch grown by farmers in Colorado. That seems like an easy yes. But an interesting thing that you'll know about this amazing book, God-breathed, it gives you like the arguments for and the arguments against. And like my argument for, I'm going to give you a kind of an idea. It's like this. It'll feed children. It's a pretty nuanced note, but that's my argument, you know. But there's an argument against. And this is an interesting note, because I mentioned it was a tax increase. Terrifying. Awful. We hate it. But for who? I'm not going to need to take a poll from the audience or anything, but I can tell you a little bit about my financial life. I make less than $300,000 a year, and I don't know if you have this in common with me. But my taxes ain't going to go up at all, right? Because whatever, it's whatever. Hard times, people need their money. People above that will have a tax increase. The person that will pay the most, of course, is people that make more than $1 million in a year, okay? More than $1 million a year, they're going to get the heaviest percentage of tax increase, right? My God, it must be billions. We're going to bankrupt all the millionaires. How much is it per year? It's like $1,100. I think it's $1,160. $1,166 a year is the tax increase. The most anybody will have their taxes increased, okay? So keep that in mind when I read you this little bit of, political notary. Also, as I read this argument against the feeding the children that I mentioned maybe before, just remember a millionaire having to spend $1,100 to feed every Colorado child. That's what we're arguing against here. That's what we're arguing against. Keep that in mind. It's $1,100 for a millionaire. Have you ever been to therapy before? Have you ever been into like couples therapy and had to learn about like narcissistic abuse? You may notice some of these notes. What I'm about to read you is a 3-step narcissistic abuse handbook. Ready? First, what we're going to do is we, the millionaires, are going to try and recast ourselves as the victim. Goes like this. The measure raises taxes on some households at a time when inflation is high and the cost of living is increasing. Oh no! How will they get their milk and eggs? $1,100 for a millionaire and more. Oh God! What poor, poor creatures. Did you hear that, Jack? When the cost of living is increasing for millionaires. Step 2, a threat. Here it is. It sounds like this when you say it politically. Higher taxes mean that those taxpayers will have less money to save or invest in the economy. Do you notice what they're doing there? Oh, golly, I guess I won't be able to give you a raise if I don't have that $1,100. Hey, look, I was going to take that $1,100 and I was going to make it rain. Oh my God, why do you always bust me up right when I was about to be a benefit to society? Step 3, reframe the argument. It sounds like this. Those dollars are best used by individuals and families in a way they see fit. I'm going to need to buy my kid whatever the fuck, but like $1,100, that really changes my mind about it as a millionaire, you know? I was going to have like an extra Hulu subscription or whatever. I was going to, you know, I was going to buy a sweater at the farmer's market or whatever the fuck one time. One time. So there you go. That's the argument against. I don't know why. I think like that for some reason there are a lot of conservatives that are against this kind of idea of us like feeding the children. And I don't really know why. I used to live in Texas, and I know that a lot of conservatives are religious, a lot of them Christians. And I was a Christian for a long time. So I know that maybe, I mean, like if you're one of these people where your opinion is like, fuck those kids, you know? And like, or maybe it's like, fuck those farmers and their dummy plants and assorted products, you know? I don't really understand where you're coming from, but yeah, I did study Christianity for a long time, and I know that, I mean, they may be thinking of one particular Bible verse. It's John 11:35. And Jesus turned to them and said, fuck them kids! So, maybe so. I don't know. It's hard to keep track of everybody's little beliefs. I respect everybody. I want everybody to have a safe community to live in. I think we maybe ought to feed the kids. What do I know about kids? I had a vasectomy. I'm not going to be worried about kids on purpose. You know what I mean? What do you think, Jack? Think we ought to feed those kids or whatever? Greedy little hungry fucks, aren't they? Yeah, little, aren't they? But they're still hungry. I agree, it's selfish. Jack, you're terrible. You're a dark person. You have a really dark heart. All right, well, it's time for another new segment of the show. Are you excited for a new segment of the show? It's never been done before. A little new segment. This is a new segment we're calling Possibly a Letter from Former Mayor Brian Bagley. Thank you. Possibly a letter. Now, golly, I don't mean to go into too much legal detail here, but it's not definitely a letter, but it's possibly a letter. Do you understand quantum physics? I don't. So anything's possible, isn't it? Oh, ye of little faith, is what Jesus said in the very next thing after he's like, fuck them kids! Greedy, hungry little things, just trying to learn because we force them to go to school every day. How dare they have needs and wants and shit. When I was a kid, we never ate lunch and we loved it. I'm way back into the last bit, Jack. I'm going to pull back out. I'm sorry. We're in the other bit. We're in the new bit now. I'm sorry. I know. Well, whatever. You try. All right. Well, listen. Possibly a letter from former Mayor Brian Bagley to his dear friend Ando, of course. Brian was nice enough to come on the show last year. We had a great interview, and I haven't really heard from him since. That's not true, but it's basically true. And so I know he's not mayor anymore. He stepped down. He could have run for one more term, but after we found that he was ineligible. Yeah, because there's a little note in the charter, and we finally got a good measurement on Brian, and we found out he's too tall. He's a very tall man, and he's too tall for public office, as it turns out. It makes everybody else look short. Nobody wants that. So he had to step down. He can't run again, unfortunately. He's height limited. Apparently he was just a really good sloucher the first couple times he ran. And so now, I haven't seen him in a while, but we love Brian, and we'd love to hear from him. We received this letter from him just earlier this week. Perhaps we did. Possibly. It's in my handwriting. And I've been sleeping a lot lately. All right. A short possible note from former Mayor Brian Bagley. My dearest Ando, dreary and long have been the days since our last encounter, when you invited me onto your delightful program, Boulder County Tonight. The months since your final episode have dragged on mercilessly, and now I find that my disposition chills with the weather. His disposition chills with the weather. Jesus. Gone all those dewy dawns of yestermorn. Gone all those sun-filled breezes that once caressed my cheeks. Gone all the little birds who would sing by my window in the early morning glow. Gone like little wayward sheep in the darkness. Gone like echoes of lost love, faintlier and faintlier, praying their once powerful prayers. Gone, but not forgotten. Oh, how I long to see your sunshiny visage upon my screen again. Oh, how I long to hear your humorous banter roll like velvety thunder across the prairie lands of my soul. That's really sweet. But lo, though I feel cold, unwelcome fingers of winter pushing through my hair like a Joe Biden at a Boy Scouts meeting. Also, as you know, my freakish height still plagues me daily. Just yesterday, I went to the doctor for what I thought was dandruff, but what ended up just being more frozen hikers who didn't reach the summit. That's sad. He's a very tall man. He's a very tall man. And just the week before, I was disqualified from a swim meet because as soon as I would dive in, I would immediately hit my head on the other side of the pool. Kicked out of a swim meet because he's too tall. Hit his head on the other side of the pool. I'm glad he's all right. Oh, Ando, why did Jesus want my face so close to heaven? Anyway, I wish you the merriest of tidings and good luck on your show on Thursday. Signed, possibly, the former mayor of Longmont, Brian Bagley. Wow, what a nice note, man. That was maybe a really nice note. Now, there's another thing I want to quickly talk about, and then I want to interview people who will literally be able to make decisions about it. Because that's hella useful. Here's the note I want to talk about. There's a rule in Longmont that we're talking about where you can get this. I'm gonna have to stand up to explain this. Jack, how you doing? You still with us? Jesus Christ. So there's this thing where people can like run for city council and come out here and be like, I want this job. I'm really interested in this job. I know what it accounts for and how much of my time it's gonna take. I'm really interested. Please give me the job. And then like you give them the job and then they're like halfway into it, they're like, I'd like another job or whatever, just this way on the bench or whatever. And whatever, I don't begrudge people losing interest. I have ADD. What do you want to do? I get it. But also, every time you have a person, let's say, on city council who runs for mayor in the middle of their term. Now, here's how it works. Let me decode this just for a second. City council term's 4 years. Mayor's term is 2 years, okay? So the mayor's thing turns over hella quick, right? And so you could be in the middle of your city council thing, and of course, the mayor's thing is going to be opening up. No matter what you do, it's going to be opening up for an election anyway. So when you have somebody that's in city council and they're halfway through their term and they decide to switch seats into the mayor's office, we have to run what's called a special election. And what's so special about it is that it costs $1 million fucking dollars. Not $1 million. I don't mean to sensationalize. But it could cost like $60,000 to $80,000. Let's say if it's like Ward 1 and their motherfucker wants to like run for a different thing. That's probably going to be whatever. It could be $80,000. Now, if that's a at-large seat, more people got to vote on it. You got to move more ballots. It's more, apparently. Okay. We'll get more details from our friends later. But that's good enough for now, isn't it, Monkey Puppet? See what I'm saying? It's the kind of journalistic standards we're looking for on this show. Okay. So there's a new rule that we're trying to put in place. Perhaps, golly, if you're interested in it, where it's like if you want to run for mayor, but you're halfway through the job you already asked for, you have to vacate that seat when it's time for the election so we can automatically have somebody in there. Because what happened to us this last time was we had an empty seat on council. And we've had it this whole time. So a lot of this election, of course, is filling that last seat on council that's been empty for a year. Now, I don't know if that's more efficient to have fewer people to argue with or whatever, but it just seems like an interesting way to do the law. And if we set it up this way, we'll stop having to have those special elections, and they get expensive after a while. And it really does just come down to individual candidates. Whatever, we love all these people. We're not saying anybody's a bad person or whatever from making this happen, but it's hella fucking expensive. And we could be spending that money other ways, like in this very building, helping communities have a voice in that community they live in. Maybe a better way to spend your money. I don't know, golly. What do I know about it? So that's the thing that's happening on city council. Also, golly, I'm sure everybody is trying to hear me here talk about the psychedelic thing. I mean, they're sort of like an implied sponsor of this show, aren't they? You know? Yeah. Pretty sure I'd have a normal job by now if I hadn't, like, you know, had different ideas, you know? Sometimes you gotta force a good idea, don't you, Jack? Sometimes in the arts, you gotta force an idea out like a dry turd. Show us that again, Jack. It's a perfect system tonight. So we're gonna interview a few people today, and you'll be glad. The psychedelic thing, let me fucking touch it one more time here. I was really halfway on it for a while because it sets up a lot of regulatory framework, and it tells local municipalities that they can't ban these psychedelics in their place, but they can decide basically everything about how their community interacts with, you know, those centers that are there or whatever. So they could effectively ban it by making it fucking impossible. The other cautionary note is when you're voting about stuff like this, you really have to put it way the fuck far out there because things very rarely get regulated into more freedom. So, those are my only thoughts there. I'm gonna vote yes on it because, you know, whatever. There's also the argument that you can't put the toothpaste back in the tube. As I look over to the monkey puppet and nod. Oh, Jesus. Things have gotten weird, Jack. There's also the last thing that we probably ought to talk about before we start having these conversations that are going to go way more into local politics. The one last state issue. There's an affordable housing bill out there, and it's worded sort of strangely. And the graph is helpful if you know what you're reading. And I didn't necessarily know what I was reading. I had to call my friends. I had to call Aren, who's on city council, because whatever, he's smart. That's why he's on city council. There's a reason it's us here and him there. You know what I'm saying, Pierre? It's like this. Love it. We're just killing it tonight with the drum thing and the puppet thing. We could do this forever. We could do a 6-hour marathon. Let's do a telethon with these people. We'll be giving away t-shirts and thongs like you wouldn't believe. The affordable housing thing is 123. The psychedelic thing is 122. The 123 thing is, it's okay. I'm not going to try and get into the nitty-gritty of this. You probably qualify. If you're a millennial, you probably fucking qualify for this. There's a difference between attainable housing and affordable housing, and it's sort of like which side of the line you're on in this particular graph, and it's called 60% of median income. And it can be shitty in Boulder County because we got a lot of those millionaires in our county.
Bless their little hearts, making shit better again.
Bumping up that median income a fucking grip, right? So median income in Boulder County is $73,000 or what the fuck ever. That sounds like it's totally unskewed by a small percentage of Americans. Did you know there are only about 13,000 people on the books in Colorado that are making more than $1 million a year? I wonder how many of them live in our county, right? What if, like unuseful dog balls, we just snip them off of the graph? And just all of a sudden we find that the median income is way closer to what people actually make. What an interesting idea. What do I know? What do you think, Monkey Puppet? Obviously. Obviously. All right, let's get some interviews going. What do you think, Pierre? Interviews? Let's have a little interview setup music, shall we? Now, this is going to be fun because it's going to be easy. The whole idea of doing these interviews is to get to know people that want to serve you. God damn it, this job sucks. It pays like shit. Half the people hate you as soon as you get elected. It's like babysitting chihuahuas. You know, it's like, oh, you'll get bit by lots of motherfuckers, but they're too little to actually cause you harm, but they'll still bite you. They're still very aggressive. That's what it's like. Don't you agree, Pierre? Of course you do. That's his whole job, to play that drum and agree with me. Just like the monkey. Look at that monkey grooving to that. We're all having fun, right? Wonderful. For our first guest, I'd like to invite Mr. McCoy from the front row. Please join me up here and put your hands together for this happy gentleman. Let me hand you this. Boomstick.
Boomstick. Chicka-boom.
Yeah. Thank you very much for coming around. Jesus, Jack, are you okay? You look like you're taking a shit. I'm sorry. Sorry, 1 second, Sean. What the fuck are you doing? You're making me look stupid in front of this guy. Are you taking a shit? I'm sorry. He's a monkey.
Hawk a monkey.
I'm really sorry about that, Sean. I didn't think it was going to be like this. All right, 7:08. We got all the time in the world. Sean, tell me about, first of all, you're running for this seat on city council. The seat, as we talked about, is to like fill an empty seat that's been empty for a year for the rest of the term, which is, get this, 1 year. So this seat lasts for 1 year, then you have to fucking run again. Why aren't you just telling the whole community to fuck ourselves for a year and run for a full term?
Well, it's not quite that easy. I think Longmont needs some representation right now, and of course, when we didn't have the special election, and that came down to the idea that in January, where it would have been the normal time to go ahead and have that, it became impossible because one, it's like $325,000 to have that, and secondly, it was just one of those things that normally we have Boulder County run our elections, and it just wasn't possible for them to do that. So.
And we had this election that we knew we were going to have to run anyway, right?
Right.
So it makes sense. I understand why we did it. And if you're in that position, what else is there to do? You have to basically sit on it for a year.
Right. In the past, we haven't. When I served on council before, in 2007 to 2011, there was an open seat, and so we did run that, and that's how we got Gabe Santos on city council.
Oh yeah. And when you have to run it citywide, when it's not just a ward, when it's an at-large seat, it can be like $300,000.
Yeah, it's somewhere in that ballpark frame.
And that makes my balls ache for this city. Like, what do you think about this thing that we're trying to change in the Constitution? It's worded like shit. It's worded like a bad Shakespeare, you know?
Yeah, you hit it right on the head.
Let's hear it! Let's hear it from me!
Right here. He's got it. So the thing is that with that particular situation.
Real close.
Oh, right here. Okay, sorry about that. With that particular situation, of course, I think that most people probably, once they get on council, they're not going to, they might want to run for this mayorship or something like that. But then what's going to happen is that if they lose, they still have a voice and a say in what's going on, and I think that's important.
But also in that position, the person who wins, Jesus. It's not him. It's never him. It's never him. In that case, somebody runs for mayor, loses, and then has to work with the person that they lost to? That seems like it's not going to go great.
Well, this isn't like if before we changed our presidential rules where the second place person would end up being the vice president. Can you imagine Hillary Rodham Clinton being the vice president to Donald Trump? So, I mean, that's how the Constitution was designed, and that was a terrible idea. Mm-hmm. And so, of course, now with this, I think the people that are running need to be people that are, willing to work with others no matter what the situation.
That's ideal. We also get malignant narcissists and shit that run for public power or whatever. And so, like, a lot of them can't handle, like, the loss of it well. Like, I can tell you, in showbiz world, it's sort of like high school with money, where it's like, oh, this person doesn't like you, you don't get this gig. It's the trickle-down system of being cool, kind of, right? Politics works similarly, because if somebody holds a grudge against you, they can fuck everybody about it, you know?
Well, my philosophy, I teach U.S. Gov and U.S. History, and I tell my students, I said, if your psyche is so delicate that you can't handle the loss, you probably shouldn't get in the race.
Oh boy, that seems like good advice. So tell us about your like life.
Oh, my life. Okay,
yeah, like you're a teacher, it sounds like.
Okay, so I am. I'm a teacher at Monarch High School over in Superior and Louisville, where the fires were.
We love teachers. We're going to clap for teachers. We love teachers. We respect that job.
I come from a family of teachers. My grandmother was a teacher. She worked in the same one-room schoolhouse in DeSmet, South Dakota, as Laura Ingalls. My mother's first assignment as a teacher was at Laura Ingalls Wilder Elementary in DeSmet, and then she came here. She helped Head Start here. My father taught at most of the schools here, Central, and over at Longs Peak, and then at Niwot, and he taught U.S. Gov as well. And so the apple doesn't fall very far from the tree, because he's the longest serving Longmont City Councilman in Longmont's history, 22 and a half years.
What the fuck? Your pa was on city council?
Yeah, a long time.
Wow. So, like, okay, here you're in a unique situation I've never been in. Can I probe it just so gently? So your dad is so pleased with you.
Yeah.
My God. Yeah, like you are like a shining example of like a fucking a son who's like your dad must be so pleased. My God, I'm just happy for you. I think.
Yeah.
It sounds great.
It's my mother that really is pleased. I mean,
okay.
she's, I'm a middle child, so I learned to fight ambidextrously. And so, the thing is that The thing is that I was the original two-front warrior, and so she always was saying to me that, hey, you've got to have, be, nice to people and kind to people and everything like that. And so as I tell my siblings that when they start making fun of me, I said, that's all right, mother loves me best.
Interesting. Wow, you're an interesting fella. I know we've met a few times before. You ran this last time for city council, and we didn't get you through that time. But this seems like an ideal time to put you on, doesn't it? Because whatever, you seem like you've got good skills, good brain.
Well, I do. I like to think I do. The thing is that I'm
and all these people do, of course.
And as I say to folks, I'm not running against anybody. I'm running for Longmont. My experience speaks for itself. I have a degree in political science. I have a master's in education. I've served on multiple boards and commissions before I was on council. I've been on council. While I was on council, I served on different boards and commissions, as everybody who does serve on council. And then I also got a bronze level leadership from the National League of Cities about community development and things like that. And then, I've served on different boards and commissions. I'm on the State Board for Future Business Leaders of America. I'm on the board of directors for that. And so, I've had a lot of experience with that.
Interesting. I appreciate that, too. It sounds like a lot of good service. I'm about to pull up some other person or whatever to talk to. Tell me one more thing. If we're going to be left with one thought about put me in that job because I'm in a blah, blah, blah.
Well, put me in that job because I think that on day one, I'm ready to start. I've had the experience. I know that, the training that you have to have when you first come on, so that if there's ever a situation like a fire or some other thing like that, or the floods, that we are able to get FEMA dollars. Those types of things are things that you can, that I'm ready to do on day one. And I'm willing to do the training, I'm willing to do the work, because, I just love Longmont. My friend, Jake Sager, he's always telling me, his family owns the Imperial Hotel here on 3rd and Main, and he's always saying, he lives in Denver now, and he's always saying to me, what's wrong with you? Why do you always, every time we talk, you have to talk about how wonderful Longmont is? And the thing is that it is.
Yeah.
It's a great place.
And quit pissing on my parade.
Yeah.
It's okay to be happy. You know what I'm saying? Thank you very much, Mr. McCoy. I'll take that microphone back from you. What a kind gentleman. I love that. Nice guy, sure. Anybody that wants this job is probably a half decent person no matter what you do, I promise. There's not enough fun in it to want to do it. Or I swear to God I would do it. You know what I mean? If it seemed fun, I would do it, but it seems shitty. That's why I don't want to fucking do it. We're going to have another guest here, if you don't mind. We're going to invite Mr. Hodges up. Now put your hands together for this nice man. He's running for us as well. Thank you so much for coming around. Grab a seat on this.
Thank you very much.
Have a seat on this comfortable yellow chair.
Well, I got to say, after your opening monologue, it's a different situation than I thought I was getting into tonight. But
I get that a lot.
So I'm glad I didn't prepare, because I think it'll be better because of it.
I get that a lot. Thanks for coming around.
Thank you.
You're running for city council.
Yes.
I don't know. I assume you know this. Boy, this job sucks. And
I've heard that. I've heard a rumor.
It's sort of a red flag that Sean's done it before. He knows how shitty it is, and he's going to try and do it again. He must really love people or whatever, or there's some sickness I don't have.
I'm sure he wants it, and I know Sean from his first council term, and I was on Transportation Advisory Board. So we know each other.
Everybody's cool. That's the nice thing about Longmont. In Texas, it wasn't like this. In Texas, it was different. And everyone was armed and opinionated. And I was in my early 20s, and more of a dick than this.
It's hard to believe.
I know. It was worse. Mr. Hodges.
Yes, sir.
Tell me what's interesting to you about this job of being on city council.
Well, it's a good question. My interest in running for council was sparked when I was on Transportation Board. So I've been thinking about that, and during the years on it and the years after that. And I think about politics a lot. I like talking about politics. And what it does for me, well, to answer your question specifically, but there's many aspects of it.
I've got time for it.
Yeah,
this time.
it allows you, if you're fortunate enough to be elected, it'll allow you to put into play some of these ideas that you've had your whole life on the scale of the city. And so that's what I think is pretty interesting about it.
It's like dream fulfillment on behalf of your community.
Sure.
You're like thinking of a perfect future that you'd like to tilt the wheel of
Yeah.
humanity toward.
Yeah, I mean, and I guess in some way that's why everybody's doing it. I mean, we have these beliefs, opinions, ideals, ideas, and we think they're good, right? I mean, if you don't think they're good, what kind of person are you, though, right? And if you want to put that into play, a way to do that is through public service and getting elected to something. So I've never run for office before. I know why Sean's doing it again, because I'm having a hell of a lot of fun. I mean, it's like I get why people want to get into politics now.
Tell me more about
It's a
that.
lot of fun.
Tell me about your experience running for public office. What was that? What was the paperwork like? Was it terrifying? God damn it.
No, it's rather easy to get yourself involved in this.
Would you tell us what your experience
You get a
has
few
been?
signatures by unwitting people.
Love it. How many dummies we need?
You need 50, so they advise a few more. So I got a few more. You jump out of
50.
bushes when they're walking down the street. Please sign my form. And some of them do. And then you turn it in and you're on the ballot.
Just like that.
Just like that.
I
yeah.
love that.
Yeah.
It should be easy to get into, don't you think?
It's pretty, yeah, it was not hard. I mean, to be a little fair, I mean, I did walk around the neighborhood. It took a couple hours, and I drove around and got some low-hanging fruit from people I've known for a while that I didn't think would tell me no.
Oh, please. My whole life is reaching for low-hanging fruit. What do you... I don't even own a ladder or whatever. That's not my life. No, I appreciate you running, though, and especially as somebody who hasn't been in technical politics, I guess, before.
Never.
Not like this, anyway. You've been in positions of authority or service before.
I'm a father.
Yeah. And you're a father?
Yes.
And you, whatever, how many kids you got?
I have 2 adult children.
2 adult children?
Yeah, 2 grandchildren.
I just got the monkey.
Yeah.
He's great, though. You're wonderful, baby.
Yeah.
Well, that's great. I guess being a parent probably really is a helpful skill as far as being in politics is concerned, because you can deal with a lot of fucking tall children.
I didn't know Mayor Bagley was that tall.
He's very tall.
I've heard. Yeah.
Mayor Bagley's very tall.
Right.
Yeah, he has to crouch when he goes outside.
Okay.
He's very tall. In his letter, he said he thought he had dandruff, but it was frozen hikers.
Okay.
Frozen hikers. Very tall man. Yeah, no, I appreciate that too. Don't be so goddamn tall, Be like metaphorically, I could look up to you. That's great. But don't make me literally goddamn look up to you. Whatever. Sorry. I don't have to get into it this much. Do I, Jack? One more? Well, listen. He's so tall. I'm stopping. No, yeah, please. Did you get any of the tequila earlier? Do you drink it all? You don't drink it all.
I am taking 2022 off of alcohol.
Oh, yeah. Good for you. Interesting. Good for
It's
you.
only because it started giving me hangovers with one beer, and so
Oh, that's.
I'm wondering whatever the magic elixir that keeps hangovers away will replenish itself over 2022. So sometime in January, I will drink a beer.
As a professional artist, I can tell you that the hangover stops when you stop drinking. That's just science. Now, as far as the local ordinances are concerned on the ballot that these people are about to receive, do you have any particular thoughts on anything that you want to mention, or the thing about the mayor's seat, or the people having to keep the jobs they ask for?
I mean, I don't see a grand moral dilemma on any of those. If you vote yes or no on any of them, I think there's perfectly valid reasons to vote either way on them. So I don't have any particularly strong opinions on them.
Love it. God damn, what a great answer. You give me nothing to shoot at, and I love that. I like your style, Mr. Hodges. So, like, you're going to serve on city council for a year, and then in a year, somebody is going to come out there and be like, but me, though, or whatever,
Yeah, of
about
course.
that job.
There's always going to be somebody that wants it, right?
Yeah, that sweet $1,000 a month. They want that
Is it
shit.
that much?
It's $1,000 a month.
All right.
Cash, I think.
Well, under the table, then
Yeah.
we're all in.
Yeah, that or you can get it in pizzas at Rosalie's. I think there's some kind of deal with the city.
I like pizza.
Yeah, it's like 15 pizzas a year or something. I go there all the time. I recommend it, of course. Oh, not a sponsor, but whatever. Let's tell the folks, if we were going to elect you for city council, and you seem like a great character. My God,
I am, yeah.
yeah, you seem like a nice guy, and I like your tie situation. I like that it's all the way up. You're not letting any of your sex out.
It's better to be with a tie when you don't need one
Yeah.
than without a tie when you do.
That's so true. That's so true, and I respect it very much. And I like your game there. That's a nice tie.
Thank you.
You're welcome. If we were going to elect you for city council, if you're going to finish this sentence, how would you maybe finish it? You should elect me to city council because
I will bring quite a different voice on a number of important issues to the city that I don't think is on council now. And you may or may not agree with my politics at all.
That's fair.
But even if you don't across the board, I can make an argument for why you want to vote for me. And it's because I'll make the process better. The way it works, the way good governance works, is when you have a wide variety of voices and opinions on issues. And it allows you to have the the arguments and the debate and respectful debate and arrive at an opinion or a resolution that satisfies the most people. If everybody is of the same mindset or near it, right? You're only arguing on matters of degree. You're never arguing, good or bad, yes or no, should we or shouldn't we. It's just how much or how little of something that we've already decided we should or should not do.
I appreciate
And
that
so
note. Let's
it-
have
you know,
like a specific example, though.
If you have, all right, shoot, what's one?
No, I mean, you can tell me, and you'll find that you're in a safe place. We're not about to debate whatever it is that maybe we do disagree. You'll find we're not about to debate. So what is maybe something that you're going to disagree with the rest of council on or whatever?
Well,
We'd like to know, of course.
I'll give you a recent one. Some weeks ago on council, it went unanimous vote 6-0, was to do a test for photo enforcement sound. If a car's too loud, it'll take the picture. And
Too loud?
yeah, like so if you have one of these, loud mufflers or whatever, driving down Main Street, and
Takes a picture of them
and
sends them a mean note.
it'll hear that you're too loud, it'll take your photograph, and then you'll get a ticket. Now, it's a test. There's no real tickets will be issued during this 2-week or 4-week test or something like that. But that's something I would have voted no on. It got discussed when I was on Transportation Board, the idea of, let's just call it generally photo enforcement technology, so that would be red light tickets, speeding tickets. And so I'm going to categorize the sound thing under that same.
Makes money for the city,
Yeah.
but fuck them. I don't know.
Well, and so back then I was against it also, and I was actually I had to go on a work trip the next day after the council meeting I was on, and so I wrote this in Plain, Pennsylvania. I wrote a guest opinion piece and then sent it in and had it published, and it was why I was opposed to photo enforcement technology. So you can see that if you want. It's on my website.
I'm with you on this, I think.
So, I look at it, so anyway, that was 6-0. I would have been a no vote on that. I think in general, we have a good relationship between the citizens of Longmont and our government. And I think it would transition in some small way, photo enforcement, it transitions into more of an adversarial, like we're going to get you no matter what, like if you come by late at night when there's no cops around and you're too loud, boom, you're getting a ticket, it's like, And it's like,
Hey,
what?
look, fuck noisy people as well.
And
I'm
I mean-
right in the middle on this.
No, I mean, you know, everybody gets annoyed. You hear loud things. You're trying to sleep at night. It's nice in the fall. You got your windows open, but you know,
On a
I mean,
social level,
we're,
fuck that
we're
guy.
in this. We're in a city, right? I mean, you know, I mean, how much do we have to legislate out annoyances? And so for the sound thing, no, I was totally against it. So I you know, is
Yeah,
the
that
gist
doesn't
of
blow
your
my
question?
mind.
Yeah.
Let's try something else.
All right, go.
No, you tell me something else that we may disagree with. I don't know about you. I liked that last issue. That didn't bother me at all. Watch this. I'm a noisy bitch.
So let's see, what's something else? 2 years ago, to be fair, I don't know if this was unanimous on City Council, but they started their 2020. They had this 2020 vision that they came out with, and it was. You can read about it. You can go if you search Longmont City Council. It's on the website, and it's this 1 or 2 sentence statement. I'm just going to have to loosely paraphrase.
That's okay. We have grace here, don't we, folks? My God.
But it says in 20 years, Longmont is going to be the best city in the world.
Yeah, it says like a village, a fancy
a
village. That's lame as fuck. Bad poetry on their part. But they're not
You know,
poets, of course.
where I
Could've
don't
hired
know,
one.
where everybody is fed and housed and comfortable, and you know, I mean, it
Sounds awesome.
It does sound, but it's just silly, and it's not because of the idea of it, but because as if there's some fantastical moment with enough time and hard work that we can reach where all of a sudden just everything is amazing, and then we don't have to do anything, and then we coast forever, and then that's how it is. And it's not reality. It's not what this is about. You know, we have issues today that undoubtedly we will be facing in 20 years. On some level. I mean, I moved out here 25 years ago, and people then were saying, oh, my kids will never be able to buy a house here, or whatever. You know, I mean, and we're saying it today. It's the exact same arguments, and I am sure in 20 years the same stuff will be going on. So that's something I would have argued against adamantly. I would have preferred it to be a more, if we were going to have some 20-year statement, a more process-oriented statement or something. You know, it's like
You don't like the flowery language.
no, it's ridiculous, and so that's another thing I would have.
That doesn't blow my skirt up that much either. You seem like a great character. I don't really disagree with you that much as far as what you've told me here. What a friendly, nice guy. I don't really have a problem. You don't really have to take pictures of every single buddy or whatever the fuck. I'm not that crazy blown away by that. And whatever, the Southern note doesn't seem that far out either. What a nice gentleman.
Wow, thank you very
Yet
much.
again. All right, we'll have more to talk about. And I wish that we had found something that we really disagreed about so that we could show how kind we could be during the
There
process.
probably is. Do you have an idea?
Fuck.
Talk about anything you want.
I wish you had just been a little more of a dick, I guess. I don't know.
I could try.
You're so nice. I wish you were like, but also, you know, fuck it, I love punching old ladies. It's like, oh, let's work on that.
Well,
Let's work on that. You know, I thought, you know, I didn't think nothing was crazy bad. Oh, I think we ought to throw everybody out of town.
Everybody out of town.
almost everybody.
Well, thank you very much for coming around.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming on the show. Put your hands together for this guy. He's trying to serve you.
Thank you.
It's almost as if we don't really have outright shitty people in our community running for public service. I don't want to say it takes all the fun out of it or whatever, but, you know, everybody's awesome. I hate that. No, I'm glad. I love Longmont. That's why we're here. Let's have another person on. Golly, we still have some time in this show. And now, this is a personal friend of mine. I've been on this person's side since they got into office. I've always basically agreed with everything they've told me. Not everything, I guess. But a personal friend, somebody I very much admire for working in public service, been on council for a while. We'll ask them all about that shit. Put together hands for Mr. Rodriguez from the show. That's right. There you are, good sir. Oh my God, let me untangle it for you.
Finger pistols are the best.
Yeah, here's a question. I do finger pistols as well. I think it's sort of a generational thing. Like my dad and his generation used to do it. Nowadays, how long is it going to be before that's not a friendly gesture? You know, everybody's shooting each other all over the fucking place. How come this is still cool to do to motherfuckers? And what the fuck does it mean? Hey, shoot you. You know what the fuck? Like, what is that? I don't understand. I do it all the time, but I don't understand it.
Oh, don't worry. We got an ordinance coming up. We'll take care of that.
No finger guns on Main Street.
Nope.
Scares us. We don't understand what you mean. It's not like a thumbs up. I know what you mean. Yeah, cool.
Yeah, get rid of those loud cars, the smokers, and the finger pistol guys.
Finger pistol guys are the worst of them.
I tell you what. Not really.
Aren, thanks for coming on my stupid show. And thank you to all you kind folks for coming as well. Goddamn, what a basket of pleasureful goods for me. Aren, you've been on council for how long now?
About 5 years.
Is that also known as a fucking eternity?
Yeah, I think I started when I was 34, and I'm about 50 now, so it's going well.
You look great.
Thank you.
You look great. I'm 37, and my beard thinks we're 57. My beard looks like I peeked into the Ark of the Covenant at the end of an Indiana Jones movie. I got old fast, Aren. I've been interviewing people that are trying to get a job to come work with you this year.
Sounds fun.
It does almost sound fun. This mostly in the phrasing because the job sucks assholes. And I love that you like it because
Not
you're
just assholes.
Not just assholes. See, now there's an inclusive note.
Yeah. We're about equity in Longmont, sir. We're about equity.
So I think these dudes both seem awesome as candidates, and we're not going to, of course, comment on whether people should or shouldn't vote for either of the motherfuckers I just talked to. They both seem nice. I don't know what the fuck to tell you. That's who they are. They seem nice. And now it's me and Aren. This is how we are. Aren, how have you enjoyed being on city council?
Well, you know, I haven't resorted to writing Civil War letters home or to possibly you.
Wait till the next episode of this show, Aren. You possibly might write me a long, illicit love note.
Hey, as long as it starts, dearest Randy Andy, I think it'll be good.
Possibly a note.
Possibly.
We have to keep that in view. So that's a long goddamn time, seems to me, especially when whatever you're in your 30s to be spending on public service. How much of your life does it take up in real life? For people that are running and may run next year, how much of your literal life does being on city council take up? Just the whole pie, right?
Oh, I would assume that Giselle and her children understand the time away, to make a Tom Brady joke.
He's a sports person there, Jack. Do you know Tom Brady? He follows sports more than I do. You know what I'm saying? It's just that easy. So as far as you were also mayor pro tem at some point, right?
Currently, was 2 years under Brian, and now I'm currently under Joan.
Okay. Did you hear that note she possibly could have written me earlier?
You know, that's really exciting news for LPM if she's really about perpetual funding.
Possibly.
Possibly.
We don't know. Could be. What is your goal for this next year as far as being on city council? You guys have been like short one member, and then at some point you experimented with like, I don't know, showing up half as often because it was like the bare minimum required for the charter or something. It doesn't seem like a lot of really, I don't know, things must have gotten done this year, but it just seems like minus one member, meeting half as often for part of the year. How did you get anything done, and what's the goal for this year now that you got it full council?
Well, I'm, an additional member probably won't drastically alter the course of the city council. We'll still be, focusing on outlawing finger pistols and I think the biggest goal this council has been trying to tackle is our housing situation, our housing costs in the city of Longmont. And as mayor pro tem, one thing that I've been trying to accomplish is not allowing too many squirrels, if you will, because council members like...
Say more.
Yeah. Well, so... So, unfortunately, council can have a bit of ADD itself, and something shiny, we got to go and do this. And so trying to make sure that we're staying focused on, a few core issues helps those things be accomplished faster, because everything takes forever in government, as you probably noticed, at all levels. And so trying to keep the council focused on a few core ideas to get them accomplished and get things checked off instead of continually adding to the list.
That seemed like an answer from a motherfucker who knows what he's talking about. Doesn't it seem like that? God damn, what a great brain. I really appreciate you always coming around when I need you to talk politics with me.
Well, if I need somebody to let the sex out, I'm coming to you.
You could I respect everybody who's running for office. Nobody can really let all their sex out or whatever, but you'll notice I'm down here. I'm fucking. But whatever, you guys are all professionals. We respect it, but we could take another button. Jesus.
Well, once we get to the mass public orgies, I think.
Because Jack's all buttoned up over here, right? Oh.
You can't see what's going on behind.
Yeah, well, he's got it tucked behind the table, thank God.
It's kind of like a hospital smock. It's all fun in the back.
I love Jack. He's my best friend, but he's also a well-known pervert. He is. He's a good monkey. We've met Jack before, of course. Aren, when is your seat? When are you going to have to run again if you want to run again?
Well, I could take the emergency slide out of the airplane and try to run for mayor next year, or my term is limited in 2025.
Okay. And whatever, we're not going to ask you to say what you're going to do. You don't want to spoilers, for the new series or whatever. So that's coming up then.
Right. I mean, as soon as this special election's over, people are going to have to start considering what they're going to do in 2023.
It's almost as if it is a relentless race to a finish line that doesn't exist, isn't it? But that's good. That's nice, right? That's how the future works, right, Jack? Okay, wonderful. What a reassuring monkey. Aren, thank you so much for being on this show. Thanks for giving us such a practical view into what it's like being on City Council. I'm going to release you back into the wild now, if that's all right.
Well, thank you. It was much more comfortable sitting here. Those chairs are terrible.
Well, these are for... Well, maybe we learned a lot tonight. Or maybe, we just were a lot tonight. Thank you very much for watching. Thank you very much for joining me here in the studio. A little closing out music, perhaps. Jack, the show's just about over. Have you noticed? Yeah. We knew it was going to happen eventually. Now, this show is going to have like another show, a sister show, if you will, a sexy old sister show. And that'll be next week at this same place here, interviewing, anyone that wants to come and sit next to such a crass and silly man, but in a more comfortable chair. I don't know what your chairs are like at home, but this is a pretty comfortable chair. And if that's what it takes to get you in the room, I'll keep the chair. Thank you very much for joining me. I hope that you will vote, unless, here's a little asterisk, unless you're just a complete piece of shit. And ask your friends, because they'll know. If you're just an absolute fucking soulless trash person, your friends will know, and they'll just let you know not to vote, or whatever. And we release you from that. The freedom to vote also comes with the freedom not to vote, doesn't it, Jack? So other than that, oh my God, all you decent humans, you crystallized consciousness in this dimension, please go and help us choose which delightful character will help you live safely and freely and expressively in Longmont, Colorado over the next little while. Put your hands together for Longmont Public Media for hosting us tonight. What a joy and a pleasure. Thank you very much for being here. One more for Pierre there. One more for the monkey. And for Sean behind the monkey, let's not talk about his job. Thank you very much to AJ, my boss, who helps me live my life. Thank you to everybody who runs here at Longmont Public Media. I love you very much. Golly, we'll see you next week, or we won't. Have a lame fucking time next week, and don't